tonight we have Errol Jacobson, who I think everybody that's here knows what a terrific resource he is. And so we're very excited to have you here tonight, Errol.
Pleasure, my pleasure.
You know, and also just to say that Errol realized that there was an issue with Facebook today. It turned out that Facebook, in their new look, their new format, was having issues with pictures. So this afternoon, he's absolutely finding a way that we can still meet tonight and make this happen. So he's working with 2 different computers tonight, and we're not going to have to worry about whether we hope. So Errol, just I don't know. I just want to thank you for that, because I just think it's so.
Well, I think it's for everybody. With Facebook, they have the new format, and now you can go back to the classic view. In the new format, we can't, at least on Plein Air Painters website, if you go to the what's it called, the media files, and you look at all the photographs, you can't view them. There's, at least on my computer or Mary's computer. So we went to the classic. We went to the classic format, and it was fine. Maybe it's something they'll fix in the future.
Well, yeah, something popped up that said they're having issues. So, but I just appreciate, Errol, that you took the time ahead of time to check it out, and I just think that's one of the wonderful things that's happening here. I also want to say that we've gotten a tentative yes from Charlie Hunter. He's going to be one of our guest stars coming up. Yep, and also Kevin McPherson. So we'll see.
You're incredible. You're like a headhunter.
An art hunter.
An unpaid headhunter.
Oh my God. You'll be bringing back Rembrandt from the grave. Right.
So Errol, you said that there were 5 things that you were going to be looking at as.
Yeah, and I only can remember 4.
I'll help you.
So, hey, everybody. So, you know, I mean, I know you probably all know this, and we've heard it a million times. Every class I've ever taken, every workshop I've ever taken, it's about, you know, the teachers always emphasize drawing, value, edges, color, and perspective. It's basically drawing, value, edges, and color, and perspective comes under drawing, and then value, temperature, other things come under each one of those headings. But I think we can look at our paintings when we're looking for difficulties and we're trying to self-evaluate where our paintings are. We can take each one of those headings and we can maybe identify where certain problems lie. And you know, I always try to keep that in mind. And I kind of rate them, and it's not just for me, I've heard it from many, many teachers, that drawing number 1 is the number 1 issue to keep an eye on. Value number 2, edges number 3, and color is at the bottom. At the bottom. Even though color is very important, if you don't have your drawing, value, and edges going, then color is not going to take. Is not going to be the problem solver for the painting necessarily. I mean, I like to, when I talk about color, I like to think of Picasso's blue period. I mean, he could have made his figures any color, and as long as the relationships are right, it doesn't matter, you know, what your colors are. Of course, if you want to go for accuracy, that's another issue. So talking about color charts, color is still important. I don't want to say it's not important, but I think drawing, value, and edges sort of stand above it. So one thing before I get started that I noticed, I went through all the paintings and I spent some time with each one looking at them, and a lot of good paintings. Everybody did a great job. But I also uploaded a painting that I did, and I noticed that when we upload paintings to social media, they don't always look like the paintings look in person. I don't know if other people have experienced that or not. So I think it's really important that when we post paintings, whether we're posting on Facebook or Instagram or on our critiques or if you're posting a painting, if you're taking your image and you're submitting it to a show, whether it be OPA or a local show, you want your painting to look like your painting looks and not like something else. And you can, you know, the computer can really, and the cameras can really play some nasty tricks with the images. And so what I recommend is when you upload a picture to either your computer, take with your camera and you put it on wherever you're sending it, take a look at that picture, you put it in your file where it belongs, and then take a look at it, hold it next to your painting and see how it looks. And then maybe you have to edit it in your editing software. Maybe you need to bump up the contrast, you need to bump up the saturation. I mean, there's a million different things you can do with it. If you have Photoshop, then that's great. You can work with the levels or all the different tools. I have Lightroom, which is fantastic, but there's also simpler, you know, software. And there's software on the phones. Like my iPhone has great adjustment software. And then I make the adjustment, put it on the computer, and then take a look at it again. And sometimes it'll look good on my phone, but it won't, you know, I mean, on my computer, and I upload it to the site. It doesn't look good on Facebook. So you have to kind of play around with it. And so that being said, I thought I'd just pass that along to everybody. So, should we get started?
Yes, that's great.
Okie doke. So Muriel, this is Muriel's, and it's a, looks like, could be Lake Street, I think, or Grand, maybe not.
Yeah, Brandon Lake.
Oh, Muriel, there he is.
Yes, yes, I'm here.
Is that Lake? Is that Lake?
Yes.
Okay, so yeah, this is a, you know, it's a great, great subject to paint. You know, it's one close to my heart, cityscapes. And so that's the reference, and this is the painting, and looks like it's oil. And Muriel, you did a great job. I'm going to like use my cursor here to kind of like point out things, and I think it's you know, you did a fabulous job. I think you know, the drawing is really quite good. The perspective is good. The vanishing point, everything's going back to the vanishing point. One of the things that I have some problems with is this post right here, which is the beam, the vertical structural beam. I mean, you did a beautiful job on it. It's beautifully detailed with the rust and the little bumps and everything, and I love it. But I question whether it was necessary for the painting.
I thought about that too. Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of, and I've been in these situations where either you can't step around it because you'd be in the street. So compositionally, I think it might be a little bit stronger if it wasn't there. Let me go back to the value-wise. I think that we could, I think that we're stuck. Now I'm going off my computer monitor. So in person, it may look a little different, but I don't have anything else to look at. So I'm gonna, you know, comment on what I'm seeing here. I would say that you know, there's like, you know, this is, you know, the underneath here is all in shadow, and there's a nice dark value this way. It looks like it's an overcast, not an overcast day, but not a really sunny, warm day. It looks like it was maybe in the afternoon, maybe midday, possibly. And it looks like this is more of the shadow side. If I squint down, this is a little darker here, and a little darker here. I think if we would have darkened this a little bit, you know, on this side, and darken this, you know, make this a little bit darker value, I think it would help the, you know, help the painting. The other thing is, in order for, as far as edges are concerned, it's, you know, we talk about perspective. So you have your, you know, your linear perspective, which is, you know, spot on. I mean, you did a great job with that. But there's also atmospheric perspective, and also with edges. Talking about edges, this is a good example. where you could, the objects closer to you are going to be a sharper edge. And so let's forget about this right here for the time being. And if you sharpened up these edges, you know, then gradually soften them. But these edges up here are almost as soft as these edges back there. So you're missing an opportunity to get, like, you know, atmospheric perspective. Also, the cars, make sure you get the darks underneath the cars. The darks really hold the painting together. So I would say this is a good painting, Muriel. Just that I think you need to, like, pay a little more attention. You're kind of stuck in the mid zone for value. Also, these telephone wires can be a lot thinner. They're too thick. Let me see if there's anything else. Yeah, I think that's about it. But overall, great job.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Okay, this is Sandra's. I don't know if Sandra's here or not, but there she is.
Right here. Oh my.
Yeah, how are you?
I
Yeah, so
need
this-
some help. I got into, as you'll see, there's a red blob and I made a mistake. I didn't know how to get out of it. So I need you to tell me what to do on it. You'll see it.
Okay, yeah, I did see it. Yeah, I really like the image. You know, it's an architectural, image scene. Nice sky, and okay. So let's see what you did with it. So here it is.
Yeah,
And
there
so
it is.
this is watercolor, correct?
Right.
Yeah. So I think he did a really beautiful job of, like, delineating these stones. And, you know, and giving the impression, I can see there's different stones there. I think there's beautiful, delicate work here with the flowers. You know, overall, really nice job. And when I looked at this painting, I couldn't figure out what that was.
A
And then
mistake.
I
I
looked
thought
at,
I was going to get darker greens in there. I mix a little red in it, but it's all quick sketch, real fast. What would you do?
well, I don't do watercolor. I've never done watercolor.
Oh, well,
So I
damn.
can't comment on that, but I can say that I probably would have made it and in your painting, yes, you have it behind there. And this tree right here, this bush is like kind of like underneath there. It kind of runs across. So I probably just would have made that just a green, a lighter green, and differentiated the greens. And I think that would have been good. And then maybe you could have, like, plopped some red over the green, not started with the red.
That's what I did. I did it ass backwards.
Yeah, because reds are very powerful colors.
Now I know it.
Oil, yeah, at least in oil paint. This could be green. And also, you follow the stone line with the tree. In the image, you see some sky space in there. So I would break that up a little bit and show a little sky back there, and that would kind of like give this a little lighter feeling, and maybe simplify the the trees a little bit. But this work in here is really beautiful. You know, maybe I would simplify the tree and maybe simplify the sky and let your hero be this stonework right here. You know, which I think is really interesting, you know. And sometimes when you do everything sort of the same texture and the same complexity, they kind of like compete with each other. And I think that just by simplifying that sky, maybe making it one color possibly, and maybe simplifying this would help a lot. But overall, really nice job. Good job.
Thank you. Thank you for your help.
Okay. Oh, my pleasure. Okay, so this is Richard. I don't know if Richard's here or not.
I am here.
Oh, hi, Richard. How
Hello,
are you?
Errol.
Yeah, how are you? Good. Hi, beautiful painting, Richard. You know, you always do
Thanks.
such nice work, and the drawing is spot on, and you know, the temperature shifts are really nice. The delicate way that you did this shadow, you know, coming down here, coming over the roof, jumping over here, down here, jumping over here. I mean, all really good observations. You know, I don't have much to say on this. I mean, it's I really like it. Maybe the only thing is I would like to just see this tower right in this area here, kind of like separate. It kind of like blends in a little bit. I don't feel like it, you know, and I'm not sure, you know, you don't have the reference here, so I don't know sure what you're, you know, what it looks like in person, but that might help. But this is a nice architectural rendering. I don't think it's basically just a general scene. I mean, I assume this is sort of what you were after right here. You know, kind of, you know, my eye doesn't stay right in this area.
I had a little.
This look.
I had a little black and white sketch that I was working from, which I realized that when I was in 7th grade, I tried to paint this same scene. It's a scene from a. I know this goes way back. It's a tower in Lausanne, Switzerland, and it was horrible when I did it in 7th grade. So I thought I would take another shot at it.
Well, that's great. You know? So good job.
It has nostalgic value.
Yeah. Well, it's really nice. Nice job. This is Jean's, and this is the painting. But I'm going to critique. Oh, by the way, you know, these critiques, I like to use Christina Boldy's. I'm going to steal from her a little bit. She, what's the word I'm looking for? Not fair warning, but anyways, what I'm saying about the paintings is my opinion. You know, you can either take it or leave it. Not everybody's going to agree. I try to look for sort of like universal things. There might be some things that I feel should be done a certain way, but someone might feel should be done some other way. So you know, there's more than one way to you know, to do something. So I just wanted to put that out there. So yeah, I want to critique it off of this one, and this is a nice little. You know, she picked a little. She liked the tree. The tree is the focal point. The tree is the hero, and she did a beautiful job on the tree. I mean, she just didn't paint tubes. She's got, you know, she's got some form going on. You know, she has the light. You know, the midtones. You know, and some darks. A couple things that I think could really help this painting. First of all, again, I'm going off the photograph, but you know, it's dark back here in the photograph, and it's not so dark here in the painting. So I got a feeling that Jean didn't make this quite as dark. I think if she took this whole bush back here and made it darker, and I don't really care if you see the house through there or not. She's not really trying to indicate the house, but there is a building back there, and there's a building way back here. So I think if you darken this back here, it's a warm day. So if you make this a cooler dark back here, a cooler green, and then maybe just put a couple little holes in there, maybe so there's something back there, that's going to pop the tree forward. Second of all, temperature-wise, I would like to see more of a more of a temperature, like more of a variation in temperatures, and also value on the trees. So where the sun is hitting the branches, really crank up the heat on that, you know, with your oranges and your yellows, you know, and then as it turns, this is a nice mid-tone, but you can this is a good tone right here for like, well, right like there, but even get a little bit darker, you know, right there to give it a little bit more form. And let's see, the sun is coming this way because the shadow's coming this way. Also, by putting that shadow in there, that's a good thing that you could put in also, and maybe warm up the ground here a little bit. Another big thing, by darkening this edge right here, you're going to establish a foreground, a middle ground, and a background. So by making these bushes a little darker here, and you lighten this up back here, and you put a little red back there, you don't even have to make it in, you don't have to be it can be just very suggestive. It's going to look like you can walk around that bush. Right now, I feel like this bush is connected to that. So a little bit of value issues here, as I was talking about, a little bit of not too much on the drawing. The drawing's not too bad. Mostly value and temperature. So, but other than that, nice job. Oh, and run the tree off the page, right off the page. Okay, this is Sharon's, and lovely seeing summer day. I can see why you'd want to paint this. I mean, beautiful flowers, you know, nice peaceful scene. First thing I noticed about this is that when you painted this, you were looking down on the flowers. Your observation. When you did it, you painted the flowers. It's not really in a sense of place that it's in that garden. It's more about the flowers. So it's a beautiful impressionistic painting, beautiful palette knife work, and nice paint application, nice thick, juicy brush strokes. I mean, it's really a lovely painting. I mean, when I look at this painting, I sort of looked at it as a group of flowers with sky behind it. I mean, that's how I read it. When I looked at the photograph, you know, I saw, you know, there was, you know, green behind there. And because you were looking down, so you'd see more green. But I like the way you interpreted it. So this is, you know, artist license. I love this green, the way this green comes out. The only issue I have with this painting, I mean, put a frame on this painting, hang it on the wall, and you'll love it for years. This is a little bit disturbing. It's kind of like a square box, you see. And I think that for my suggestion would be to run the flowers right off, you know, put some flowers here, just cover the whole board with flowers, and then insert this yellow, you know, in you know, various places, you know, behind there. But that, other than that, I mean, I think it's a great job. You got a good range of values. You got your darks, you know. You got, you know, nice form to the flowers. So overall, good job. Okay, you're welcome. Okay, and this is Stefan. Okay, so this is a nice complicated scene. So this is where you were sitting, and here's the view. I noticed about this. This is really a little complicated. This is a complicated scene because if you notice, this is the door back here. This is the front wall of the building. This goes in at a 45-degree angle, comes across straight, and then you can't see it, but comes back here at a 45-degree angle. If you look at the painting, it's a little bit hard to see. That's a hard thing to draw. Now you've got it right here. I see you got this line up here. I think somehow in this, I guess this would be that 45-degree angle wall. This would be the end of the wall. So without actually seeing it in person, there might be some way to bring this line down. I'm not sure. And you'd have to go back out there and see it to really make it feel like it's sitting back there. I think this is watercolor. And I love the color of the door. I love the way you did the steps. I think the drawing is good. It's a little bit, you know, I mean, this is artistic license. You see how this is like more of a rectangle from here to here to here to here. Now, accuracy is really, you know, it's more square the way it was done. It was kind of like, you know, squeezed in there. But what you did with it is fine, but you might want to pay attention to that in the future. Yeah, and I think we could get a little bit darker, you know, up in these edges here, darker underneath here, maybe some darker in there. And let's see, the sun, the light, it's hard to say. Let me see which way the light's coming. Let's see. The light, so this is another overcast day. You can see there's no, you know, shadows. So it's a cloudy day. And but you see up in here how it's really dark in there, and even dark, you know, dark back up in there. By putting those darks in there and paying attention to those values, what's going to happen is you're going to like really pop this forward. It's going to become a much more powerful painting. So I would say you're missing the darks. I would definitely say you're missing the darks, which is not a uncommon issue for many of us, including myself. And I know in watercolor, you work from light to dark. So you can still, if you want, if you have the reference, you can still, keep on working on this. But overall, really, really nice job.
Great. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Okay, so this is the reference, and that is just a beautiful place. Elena. Where is that, Elena? Where is that?
I am here.
Where?
Yes, I'm here.
Where is that at? Where is it photographed?
This is Virgin Islands. This is
Where?
Caribbean Sea area. We got trip in here.
What islands did you say?
Virgin Islands.
Oh, okay. It's beautiful area, and just I can see why you wanted to paint that. This is a beautiful little impressionistic painting.
Wow.
Great, paint application. It really does remind me of a French impressionist painting. And you really did a really good job going back. The way you drew these mountains is actually, you did a really nice job at showing those receding mountains. Here's the thing about this painting, that there's a lot to look at. There's a lot going on. So it's up to you. You could leave it like it is, and it's beautiful, and I'm sure everybody's going to love it. What I would do is I think the painting should be about the village here. I love this village and all these buildings and the steeple, and it's just beautiful. And the village right now, if let's say we want to make the village the hero, it's competing with all the boats. And so it's just an idea that if, next time you paint this, if you want to paint it again, maybe try painting it with one or two boats, and maybe like one, I don't know, maybe one here and maybe one right there, and maybe one going in the harbor or something like that. And see how that comes out. The other thing you can do, right now, everything is very texturized. You could quiet down some areas. Now you can leave it just the way it is too. This is only a suggestion. But think about what would the painting look like if you kind of like tone down the sky, maybe made the sky, simplified it, a little bit. Or maybe simplified the water, you've got all this texture going in, so you really can't make it a flat, pure, calm sky, because you've got all this, energy in your paint too. So you are going to want some, some paint in there, but maybe one color with a lot of palette knife work. Like take your palette knife and just drag it down with some blue and see what happens there. And maybe with the water. So you want to keep the texture. I guess what I'm saying here, you've got like, things exploding that way, exploding this way, exploding this way. You've got your strokes going around the mountain like that, So be careful of like following the form. So as I'm saying, these are just suggestions. As it is, it's a beautiful painting. It could be hanging in the Art Institute, in the Impressionistic room with all the Impressionists. But you could, keep some of those things in mind, next time that you go to paint a painting. What is the painting about? But nice painting, very nice.
Thank you very much.
Oh, you're welcome. Okay, this is Robbins. Okay, great scene. I mean, this looks really nice, peaceful, very meditative, calm, great. As long as there's no mosquitoes. And here's Robbins' painting. And this is a beautiful little painting. I think he did a great job, especially this area right in here. I just think this beautiful, sensitive, delicate work. I also think, your edges as you're going back there. I mean, I think he did a really nice job back there of sending everything, to the rear. The sky reflecting down into the water. Let me see. You see these trees, how these trees are reflecting down, boom, boom, bushes are reflecting.
Yeah.
I don't see a lot of reflections going on down there. I think we could strengthen this by having the reflections going down. Darks reflect lighter. See, dark, light, and lights reflect darker. So it's something to keep in mind. So I think if we put some darks, some reflections in the water, that would help too. Now, this is something I want to talk about. Robin, I don't know if when you took this photograph, see how this is all blown out here? You know, in real life, it probably doesn't look like that, right?
No, not quite that milky.
Yeah, right. So this is what I'm talking about to you guys, that when you take photographs of your paintings, whether it be for a critique or to enter a show or to submit to a gallery or to send to a client or to send to a teacher, whatever it may be, you know, or to do for a G Clay, you know, if you want to make a print of it, try to get it as accurate as you can. Because from here, I would say you don't have enough darks, but you might have the darks there and I just can't see them because they got blown out. You understand what I'm saying? So, so think about that. Also, as things go back, see this little branch in here? You probably don't need that. Just the fact that it's like, you know, back there a couple 100 yards, you wouldn't see that up close. This one looks like it's closer and you see them about the same as this. So keep in mind as things recede, your detail gets a lot less and your darks get lighter. Usually your lights will get darker. Good job on the sky from dark to light. Good job, I think, on the composition. I just question the tree. I would just like to see this tree, and this is just my own thing. It just looks a little thick to me. I would just like to see the tree a little bit, just a little more delicate and a little more lyrical, because it is a big, it is a big, you know, this is a big area of the painting. This is a really big area. This is a big area. So that tree is important. So that's where figure drawing comes in, because think about trees as being figures, you know. And, you know, these branches don't go really straight. They boom, boom, boom. Go out and study trees. They're kind of like crooked, you know. And as they go further away, they get thinner. And maybe drop some things down here. Maybe put a couple leaves out there without connected to a branch. But the tree is good. I mean, you know, the top side, just at the trunk. But nice job, Robin. Good job.
Thank you.
Okay. Oh, one other thing is, it's a warm day. Yeah, it's a warm day. So I think we could crank up the temperature again. I don't know what the actual painting looks like, you know, but we could crank up the heat, you know, in the warm areas. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. So this is Marcy, and
Errol,
hey, Marcy, how are you?
I'm good.
Good. Yeah, I saw this on your Facebook page. I think you have it as a commission, right?
Right.
Yeah, and was the commission for this building basically?
It is. It's
That's
for a
what
fellow who does a lot of work in there, so he knows it
Yeah.
well.
Okay, so that's what I thought, and so really nice job. I'm sure your client will be very happy with it.
And it's not done yet, so.
I do have some things that popped out at me with this this painting, and so you're standing pretty close to it, I believe, right?
Right.
So when you get really close to like really tall buildings, ask Don Yang about that when he does those churches. It's tough because you're so close. It's easier when you stand further back. I don't know if you were able to stand further back or not, but it's nice to get a little further back. But it is, you know, you stood where you stood, and that's fine. So you see how you painted this on site too, didn't you?
Yeah.
You had your easel, okay. And then did you work a little bit of it off of photograph too?
Well, just to get those, the last things I did were try to suggest the windows.
Okay.
And I did that in the studio.
Okay. So here's the deal. 3-point perspective. We all know about 1-point perspective where everything goes back, and 2-point perspective where you got the corner of the, I'm not talking about your painting, you know,
Right.
this way and that way. And we got 3-point looking up or down. So this is a 3-point perspective where the lines converge to a vanishing point somewhere in space, way up there, you know, around the moon or something. And so you've got your 3-point. to me, this looks like this building is falling backwards. That's what I wanted to say.
Okay.
And I mean, it's just the way I perceive it. Not a lot, it's subtle, but it looks like it's falling a little bit backwards. Now, because you have this line going, following this 3-point perspective, but this line is perfectly straight, and this line is kind of going out this way. I think, and you might try this on a piece of paper, and maybe take a piece of paper, like a piece of tracing paper, put it over your painting when it's dry, and maybe try taking this and just angling it a little bit. It wouldn't be a hard fix, right? Because you would just, boom, boom. And then try angling, not a lot, just a lot. And then maybe try straightening this up, see what happens. You know what I'm talking about.
Yes.
Try. So I think, so that's one little thing. A second thing is, and I learned this from Scott years ago, he was a stickler about this, and I always think about this. See how this building's going? I know it's a camera. It could be camera distortion. But you can make it work. I think, this kind of works better. But as buildings come down, as buildings go up higher, they get lighter. As they go down, they get darker. So it's kind of like a reverse atmospheric perspective. So by bringing some of these windows a little darker, it might help. And I think that the windows might be the light blue windows. I know they're reflecting the sky, but if you squint down at it, these windows are quite a bit darker, not quite a bit, but they're darker in value than the sky. The dark for sure, and these windows are, these are the balconies, these are the windows, are a little bit darker. So, and if I look here, they are a little bit darker. I mean, they're darker up here. I'd rather see these lighter up here and darker down here. And the same thing with the lines, maybe a little bit lighter up here and a little darker down here, maybe a little darker down here. And then, so that's with the building. This tree, I would like to see this tree simplified, because it's kind of like, it's a beautiful, thing you painted there. But I think this could all be simplified. I want to look at that building. I want that building to be the main focal point. So I think if you simplify that tree, and also you can see it's quite a bit, if you squint down, just make it more, mass it in. And I think that'll help quite a bit. But, and then maybe as a sunny day, maybe crank up the temperature a little bit on the street a little bit. Again, I'm looking at the photograph, so it might look different in the painting. Also, I see something else. You were looking at this building head on, right? Pretty much it was in front of you, I think.
Almost head on, yeah.
But you were like around here.
Right.
You weren't way over here someplace.
No.
You were somewhere in here. Okay,
Right.
When you're looking at things head on, the verticals, the horizontals are going to be horizontal, always. So that's something you might want to keep in mind. That might help too. Right now, kind of like going down. Just keep that, but whether you make the change in this or not, keep in mind that no matter what, you've got it here fine, but this one is going like this. Okay? Okay, nice job. I'm sure the client will be thrilled with it. Okay, this is Patricia's. And I want to just get to the, okay, so this is like a barrel in a field. I love it. I mean, what people, everybody finds something. This is an interesting thing to paint, You've got nature, and you've got man-made objects, and you got a different spherical shape here. Very nice. Obviously right here, our focal point is the barrel. Getting back to the photograph, it's a warm day, warm, sunny day, warm day, cool shadow.
Errol?
So what I'm seeing here is I am seeing cool shadows, and I am seeing warmth, but I'm seeing like cool up on top of these slats. So I think I'd pay a little bit of attention to the temperature shift of these boards. And then I think that everything here is very, I mean, I love your edge work. Your edge work, you have really nice way of handling your brush or knife or whatever you're using. You're varying your edges. But sometimes it's a good idea to hone in someplace and lock something in for the eye to see, okay? And I would say that, for one thing, I'd like to see maybe a sharper edge on the barrel. Just, you know, maybe lost and found, sharp, then a little lost and sharp, you know, not one flat, straight edge, but lost and found. A little warmer temperature here. You know, heat up. Don't be afraid to put some heat in your paintings. It's going to really make them pop, you know, and maybe overheat it. You can always calm it down. And then as it turns around, as your form goes, it's going to go in the shadow. And these reds are a little bit kind of like cool. So as you put the heat up here, these might be cool enough. And you know, everything is a relationship. No matter what we look at in a painting, we want to relate to what's going on. So what am I trying to say? This is warm, this is cool. So this is cool compared to this orange right here, right? But so when you put the orange, if you put this orange right here, make this hotter, this is going to appear cooler. So maybe be a little more bold with your temperature and your colors. Also, you're looking down into the barrel, which isn't the way that it was, but you know, you did it that way, which is fine. Watch these shadows. You're kind of like, there's no, I would just say more mass it in, not so hard edges, kind of break those up a little bit. I would say you've got this really hot here, really hot here. I guess the sun's coming this way, but I would tone this down a little bit. It's fighting with this. My eye wants to go over there. Also, my eye wants to go over there. I want to stay on the barrel. I want to stay in the front. I would take a few edges. I would, you know, do some harder edges there, lost and found. And then I would maybe just take, well, see what happens. Once you put the hard edges here, it might be enough to separate this from this, and you might not have to touch this. But maybe just make, you know, some continuation of this line here a little bit. You know, it's just kind of like lost. Maybe put some lighter green in there. So, but mostly the temperature. Temperature. And as it goes around, it gets darker. Lighter, mid-tone, darker. I also want to say one more thing about this painting. I think, now this is just me speaking, I think that this, Pat, you can't see it, but I think your original photo, I would paint this again and use the whole photo as your reference. The reason I say that, because on your painting, it's kind of like split, like kind of evenly, and it's kind of like crunched in there. I would like to see what it looks like.
Split?
Well, it's kind of like the barrel. The barrel is like, the barrel's the same width as to the left of the fence. It's kind of an even spacing. You know, the width of the barrel, the width of the fence. From the edge of the barrel to the edge of the painting is sort of similar as the width of the barrel, sort of. Anyways, I'd like to see the painting done. Like, do it again with this reference, but paint it just as you see it and take a look at it. Just as a thought.
All right,
But nice job. Good job.
thanks.
You're welcome. Okay, Alvino, I know this scene. Man, do I know this scene. We've all painted this so many times, and it's just iconic. And this is, you did this when I was doing the Zoom thing, right, Alvino?
Yeah.
Okay, great. So I know the reference, did a great job on it. Love the paint application, love the texture. I mean, you're a good painter. You're good with color. You know, there's just a few things that I want to talk about in this painting. Your vanishing point is someplace right in here. These lines right here are like going over here someplace. It's very important to get your perspective, because this building's on State Street, and to get the vanishing, all these lines. So these lines, these floors coming down here are going to be very sharp, a little less sharp, little less sharp. As they come down, like this one's probably right, but this one down, these windows here would be down more like this. What you can do is put a nail in your board, or maybe you don't want to put a nail, but put a dot where your vanishing point is. and then take your top floor. Let's say this is your top window. Hold a ruler up. Connect your ruler from here to that vanishing point. Make some kind of line, some kind of reference point, and keep doing them all the way down. You'll see the ruler starts this way and keeps getting at a shallower angle as you go down. So same thing there, same thing here. They're steeper than you think. This is good right here. See, this goes to the vanishing point. This goes to the vanishing point. But this is pretty close to this, where it should be sharper there, like that. The other thing about this sign, I've painted this sign a bunch of times, and it gives me fits because you're standing right here. You see the side of the truck. You're going to see a little bit of the side of the sign, which means you're not standing right in front of the sign. Well, I took the photographs. I know I was standing right there when I took the photograph. So these letters are going to be a little bit elliptical, like the O. Easiest way to say it. The O is going to be a little bit elliptical, not a perfect circle. So keep that in mind when you're doing lettering and you're not looking straight on. Keep that in mind. And maybe also be careful of the lettering not to get them too white. And I would destroy some of those letterings. I know I took a workshop years ago and the teacher said when you do lettering, don't always complete every letter, you know, kind of like destroy some, leave some unfinished, take a knife, go through them, you know, destroy them, build them up, you know, and they'll be like, see this lettering here? I mean, I know it's not actually lettering, but, you know, I like the way all that looks. I think we can do some of that work up in here too. Also, you don't have to do every window. You can do like just a few windows. Same thing back here, just a little bit of indication. Even these lines here, like, you know, break up like the thickness of these lines. You want to keep your interest like right in here. So your heavy texturized paint maybe should be more in here. So I think some of this could be simplified. And then also one last thing is your building's nice and straight, nice and straight, nice and straight, off on an angle, off, they're falling this way. Keep in mind when you're doing buildings, I know you know this, is to keep your building straight. Lately, what I've been doing, at least on my studio paintings for sure, I've been using a T-square. I used to think it was cheating. I don't think that way anymore. You know, use a T-shirt square. You can get a little plastic one, a little 12-inch one. Keep it in your bag. And when you get to this, you know, into the verticals, go ahead and use the T-square. And, you know, our poor friend, dear Lee Racky, who we miss so much, I remember one day I saw him out there painting, and he was using a 45 or a 60, what's it called, 30-60, you know, a T-square that looked like at an angle like that. Man, it's cheating, you know? I said, Lee, what are you doing? And he says, you know, he watched people painting in Point Air in Door County, and he saw top-notch professional painters using them. So don't be afraid to use a mechanical device. You know, you don't want it to be perfectly mechanical. You want it to be painterly, but at least it'll give you, you know, it'll solve a few problems. This is nice and horizontal. This is great. Great job on the cars. Great job on the building. You know, great job on the detail. Overall, really nice painting. I'm being really picky. Okay, good job. You're welcome. Okay, this is Mary Hines, and beautiful picture. You know, just lovely sunny day.
It's John Hines.
Oh, it's John. I'm sorry, John Hines. John, beautiful day. You know, love the light on the hat. The warmth, the reflections in the water, you know, everything about it is a nice, you know, is a nice scene. So let's see what you do with it. So looks like oil, and you know, I think you did a pretty good job. I mean, you got a lot in there. There's a lot to paint. But one of the first things I noticed about this painting is the overall warmth of the painting. So I think that the drawing is pretty good. You know, I think the person's good. I think, you know, the perspective is pretty good. I think that it's a temperature issue here. And in order to make things warm, you know, in order to things make colorful, surround it with non-color. In order to make things look warm, surround it with cool. You know, 75% cool and 25% warm is really going to, you know, 75% dark and 25% light, that light white is going to pop, you know. So I feel that this overall is just all way over too warm. Now, she's under in shadow, so the shadows are cool. So let's just talk about the tree. We can see the tree is really red. So you need to like cool that tree down and make it more of like a purplish color. And also it's going to be really like simplify these shadow areas. Make your shadows thin. Try to keep them thin if you can, and try to keep them simple. And make your shadows more on the warmer side. I mean the cooler side. Okay. Then also I think same thing with this tree. A little bit too cool, too warm. And you can put like a little bit of light in there, you know, a little rim light. And then all this work right in here. I mean, I want to keep my eye right in here. So I want to simplify all this. I think it's a little bit too much trying to paint leaves or texture of leaves. I would try to simplify this and paint more in broad strokes of the tree. Same thing back in here, same thing, over in here. So this all reads is kind of dark, and then boom, there's your light area right out there, like you have in your, out here. And also, you see how these lights just pop. This is all in shadow. So you could paint this dark, all this dark mass. If you squint down, just as all one dark mass, and then paint it as one dark mass, and then pop some lights in there. So when you paint this tree, paint it as one solid dark mass. I don't want to see any light, dark, 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 just one shape. And then you bring in your lights and cut into it. Same thing in here. Paint that as all one dark mass and cut in with your strokes there. Now look at these reflections in the water too. I think that's something that you can capitalize on and get some reflections. Also, atmospheric perspective. This looks like it's across the bay. I would make this lighter back here so it looks like it's going back further. And then again, I can't see the color, but the water, I think I would pump up. I personally would pump up the temperature here, make this warmer, make this cooler, make the sky a little lighter. Because in landscapes, your sky, if you look at Carlson's book, your sky is going to be in most cases, your sky is your lightest, your ground planes your next darkest, and your verticals are your darkest. There's another one, which are mountains, your slanted planes. It really goes sky is your lightest, then your ground planes, your next darkest, your slanted planes are your next darkest, and your verticals are your darkest. Now it's just a general rule. There's lots of things that can break it. But I think also if you make that sky a little bit lighter, if you squint down, that sky is the lightest thing in there, so that's going to really push this all down. So temperature value, because this is the same color as this basically, so by bringing some shadow in there and your light there, let's say you made that blue, a little bluer, not within reason. You could have that blue in the water too, which would be nice. So, but overall, really good job. It's an ambitious painting, and I think he did well. Okay. All right. This is really, really nice. Deborah, I really like this scene. I was looking at this, and it looks like it's in an entrance to a museum or something like that. And so it's very simple, very geometric.
It's Lurie Gardens.
Oh, Lurie Gardens. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. Over by Millennium Park. Yeah, there's the water right there. Yeah, really nice. It's a nice, looks like a nice sunny day. Looks like there's heat going on. Okay, here's the painting. So I was looking at this. I really think he did a really excellent job of drawing. I really think he nailed it. And in my opinion, drawing is the toughest thing. I mean, that a lot of artists face. I know when I've given workshops, that's always been an issue with a lot of my students. It's an issue with a lot of artists. It's probably my most difficult thing as an artist is my drawing. I'm still working at it and still trying to get better at it. We can never, never stop trying to get better at drawing. So the drawing is great. You got that. Now, that being said, a couple things about this painting. I find that this area right here in particular is flat. Reason being, it's almost the same value. You can see that it gets darker back here, which pops this right here. So this is a really, is this, what is this? Water, oil?
No, watercolor.
Watercolor. Again, I'm not a watercolorist, but I think it's from light to dark in watercolor. So, I mean, you could easily darken that and not darken it in one straight line, but lose some edges, make it interesting. Kind of like you did here. Dark, look at, you lost that edge up there beautifully. You found it there. That's all beautiful stuff. That's what makes a painting interesting. When we look at a scene, with our naked eyes, all of us, whatever we focus on is going to be the sharpest, and everything else is going to fall out of focus. So a lot of people, if they paint everything hard, that's not the way the human eye looks. Now, of course, you could paint it that way and say artistically that's what you want to do. It depends what your taste is. I got a feeling that you want us to look right there. You want us to go through the door. That's where I want to go. There's a door there. I want to go through it. So by making this a little darker, right, and maybe just a little bit, just a little bit darker, finding those edges, and maybe a little bit, let's see what's going on there. Even a little darker up there. But you don't want it so dark that it's going to be, so this might be a matter of temperature or color. This is where you might want to play with color and use some of these rusty blues, these beautiful blues and oranges up here, and bring them up there, and maybe have a little dark there, so it looks, so you got the dark underneath, but I think just a little bit there.
Sure.
And that'll help. And then also you can intensify this color. So between the edges and making this a little more colorful, that's going to help. And then maybe you can warm up possibly this a little bit. And this is a sidewalk here. I would make this like it looks like it's actually going past there. Look at the photograph. Well, now also you made a decision, an artistic decision, not to put this lamppost in and this lamppost in. This is, you guys are all experienced plein air painters, and you know this. And take a cue from this, that you don't have to put everything you see. She didn't put it in. She didn't need it. It wouldn't have strengthened the painting,
Okay.
Yeah, so great job. Really
Well,
nice.
thank you. Actually, I
Okay,
think that's a really good suggestion. I'm going to do it.
Okay. Absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
And then, the thing you guys can also do is you can also put, if you want to try it without damaging the painting, put some tracing paper over it or acetate or something. All right, Linda Brown, and nice painting. Here, let me show you the reference is right there. Here's our reference. Now, it's a street scene in a park. This is the painting. We can see that Linda, you took the some artistic license and made it more of a field scene, which is fine. You don't necessarily have to be a slave to what's in front of you. And I think this is a beautiful painting. I love this work right in here, and this texture and these different values going on, nice and loose, and it's really interesting. So with this painting, my suggestion for this painting is sort of a perspective problem. If you go, it looks like in the painting, the trees are going, I feel like I'm going uphill. And if you look in this painting, all the trees are basically sort of like in line, even as they go back. I think that would help the painting if these trees were more like a little further. They don't have to be perfectly in line, but this one was up here, maybe this one up here, maybe that one up there. And also when you paint this, get to strengthen the shadows. I feel there's not enough darks underneath the trees. Paint this as all one dark value. It's a warm day. So you want to paint it a cool dark value, and then break it up. It looks like this is oil paint, so break it up with your lights. And that's really, other than that, I mean, good sky, nice light value there. I just think you're missing some darks. Also, as the edges, as trees or objects are closer to you, your edges are going to be a little bit harder. So maybe make these a little harder, and as they go back, they get softer and softer. But this back here is beautiful. See how you made this nice and cool back there? It recedes really nicely. So good job. Very nice.
Thanks for the suggestions.
Okay, my pleasure. Okay. Mary, okay. Beautiful. So Mary, I think you were attracted to this right here. You know, I mean, that's what I'd be attracted to. Am I right, Mary? I mean,
That's right. And
yeah,
that's
I mean,
Robin. That's Robin in the corner there.
I knew that was Robin. Really? I didn't. I tell you, oh yeah. Looks
Yeah,
just
that's me.
like Robin. Looks just like Robin. Anyways, very cool. So anyways, I could see, you know, coming out, I love these kind of things where you come out of the shadow into the light. They make really nice, strong, interesting compositions. So this is oil, right, Mary?
Yep.
Okay. So, you know, I think you did a really good job. I mean, I really like the way you popped up, you know, you popped this, you know, the light area, you know, the bushes. Now this is like a water area down here, right? This is like a little pond or something, correct?
Yep.
Right. And so I love how you painted this bush. I love the way this brushwork right here is very loose, very fluid, very active. What I would do, a couple things to help you with this painting. I would say we need to like pump up the darks and maybe strengthen the lights. One thing, I would take this water here and I would kill the value of this quite a bit. I won't go back and forth between the photo, but I kill the value. Well, I will actually. You can see it reflects the green, and it's not quite so dark. Certainly not as light as the sky. So don't forget, we're doing a painting here, and you do have a little bit of reflections there. I see the yellow now that I'm looking. A little bit harder, but I would make that a little bit darker, maybe a little bit more of an edge along the water, and have the reflections just a little bit of something there that looks like more like for reflections. And then there's a little ledge there, so maybe a little bit of a harder edge there. And then I would simplify this bush right here, and then I would simplify this also, and I would sort of like tone this way down because my eye wants to go over there. It's pulling me off the painting. Actually, I don't even think you need this, to be honest with you. I would sort of like make this, just have this branch, which is really nice, just come right out of there. And simplify this, make this more solid, maybe with a little bit of rim light. And then pump up the color on those you know, on these grasses and all this brush back here. Even more than you have it. You know, you have it a little bit, but I would even do more. Then, most importantly, these trees are not all that important. You could really, this is under the canopy of the trees. I would get darker in here, and I would tone these trees way down, so that see how toned down they are. I mean, they're really, you know, if you squint down, you don't even see the trunks a little bit, and then maybe just cut some sky holes in there. But the most important thing is you want to really build up this area with your color and your thick paint. And then squint your eyes as you're painting. And if you squint, this is really dark, nice solid mass, little hard edge there, little hard edge there. You know, some nice, you do your work right in there. And then darker in there with a few maybe, tree trunks, not as delineated. Maybe that color right there of this or something like that back there. Okay?
Good, thanks.
Okay, otherwise really nice job. And then maybe make this maybe a little bit darker. You know, again, I'm looking at a computer monitor, so, you know, it could look different, you know, and don't forget these are going to be, it's going to be dark, underneath is going to be darker. I just squint at the picture, you'll see this is all just like solid mass. Okay, let's
Thank
see. Okay, Kuhn.
Yes.
Mr. Kuhn. Yes, how are you?
Fine, thank
Good. Okay, really really nice landscape here. Let's see what you started with. So there's the painting, there's the bridge, there's the tree. It looks to me that you took some license and you moved some things around, which is fine. That's what artists, no one's going to go and look at this and say this tree wasn't as close to the, to the bank as it was. If you're doing if you're doing Wrigley Field, they're going to know. But you can take a lot of liberties with landscapes and trees and scenes like this, and they're going to be believable. And this tree, right now, to me, the hero of this painting is the tree. However, I'm getting a little conflict with this bridge right here. And so I think maybe you couldn't decide which one you like better. But you did a good job on both of them. But what I would do is simplify the bridge. I mean, when I looked at it carefully, you even have people on there and things. So I would just maybe just simplify that a little bit. And then the one thing that I think, I love what you did up here. This is just great variety of edges and good thing for people to study. For look at all those different sky holes. I mean, you did really, really good there. And really good job on tree and form. Really nice. Everything looks great. My one thing about this painting and good atmospheric perspective, this here is a tangent. It looks like this tree is running right into this tree. I know you got it a little bit different color. I'd like to see a little more of a separation here. Even if this is a tree that came up, maybe even if you made it up, have a branch come over like this, you know what I mean? And maybe have a sky come under here. So it separates this from this. So we know it's not one. Because right now, you've got this line right here, which is, to me, a little disturbing. Okay?
Very good. Thank you.
Nice job.
Appreciate it.
There you go. My pleasure. Okay, Clayton. And there's Mr. Clayton. So the thing of beautiful drawing, Clayton. I mean, I love this drawing. Clayton, I don't know if you're still there or not, but I was actually behind you when you were drawing this.
Oh.
And I was in the park, Newberry Plaza, and you came out to paint with us that day, and you were off doing this. I remember exactly where you were, and this brought back memories, and it's a beautiful drawing. I mean, the perspective is good, the edges are good, the value is good. I mean, the little person there, very simply done, but there, one point perspective going that way. I mean, you really feel these arches, you feel the depth of them, but they're done very, very simply. They're not overdone. I mean, look at these windows here. The way he punched in those darks, punched in a few darks. So you have your midtones, your darks, your lights, you have your three main values. And what can I say? Beautiful drawing, Clayton. Very nice.
Thanks, Errol.
Yep. Nice hat too. And Steve, beautiful painting.
Oh, thanks, Errol.
Yeah, I mean, this is a painting that is poetic. It's it's a snow scene. It's in the woods. There's trees, there's snow on the trees, there's falling limbs. There's, this beautiful, he does this so well where he takes the warm tones and he brings us back with these, cooler violet purples, and just not done where he's defining every tree. I mean, these are very just suggestive strokes, and just rapidly done. But I mean, there's so much to look at here. And, there's all different kinds of painting. There's all different kinds of drawing. I mean, there's photorealism, there's impressionism, there's realistic, there's academic. I mean, there's all different kinds of schools. And they're all good. And some people will say one's better than the other, but, for my money, I love looking at this kind of stuff. I mean, I like looking at all kinds of different kinds of paintings. But this gives the viewer a lot to look at. I mean, this is one little area here, and you just kind of dripped. This is just drips probably in its initial block in. It was just using terp, and just, you know, kind of like toning the canvas and throwing some stuff down. And he kind of left it there. He didn't cover it up. So he didn't explain everything, but he explained enough to give the viewer, you know, something to think about. So, you know, he made it look simple, but it's not simple. And someone once told me the key, something about being a good painting is to make it look like it is easy. But, when it's not, we all know that it's not easy. So great job, Steve. This is Karen's, and this is the scene she was painting. She took a scene and she cropped it, and she did just the lower part of it. She was interested in the shadows and the path, which is, you know, every artist is going to paint something different here. So right in this scene, there's a lot of different paintings here. I mean, you can paint the building, you can paint like, you know, just the garden, but she decided just to focus right on this area. So I think it's a successful painting. I think it's good. It's a sunny day. We have warm light. I think the shadows could be a little cooler. And as the shadows, when they're close to the object casting them are going to be harder. As they move away from the object, they get softer and softer and softer. So I think that on this one, and also the shadows sort of like take on the local color of the object. So maybe these would be slightly a little bit, I guess they do look kind of green. But the edges, like this edge is a little hard. This is nice right here. This is nice right here. This gets a little hard. This is a very hard edge right here. This would be really diffused when you see how, you know, you get back into this area, you know, how diffused this is. So, and how they're harder right here as they're coming right off the tree. So study shadows. Even if you're not painting, paint by just observing. Say, I'm gonna just look at shadows and what shadows look like. Also, what they do. This tree, to me, at first, I go, wow, that tree's kind of different. It looks like there's nothing over here to hold it up. But when you look at the actual tree, it is like that. So, but it does have a little bit, it is rooted into the ground there. So what I would do with this, on the painting, is I would bring this tree over, maybe right even past this. Even if it isn't like that, root it in, because it looks kind of like a foot of an animal or something like that, like a big deer foot or something. So I would just do that, put the foot down. Also light, think about form, okay? The light's coming this way. There's no way that this can be as light over here as the light over here. You know, think about this as you're drawing a ball, you know, the ball, when people draw, you know, a ball for, what am I looking for here? The shading it, you know, to show form. Lighter, a little darker, cast shadow, cast a core shadow, maybe some reflective light. So it needs to be a little darker on this side. Same thing over here. And maybe a little hotter, you know, temperature, crank up your temperature. I think it's something that you pushed it here. So right now my eye is going to this. The other thing about this is, you know, where do you really, you know, want me to go, you know, with this painting? Right now I'm kind of like stopping, like right here. I want to go down the path. So give me something back there, you know, maybe a little something here and a little something there to bring my eye back there, you know, because right now I'm just like here, I'm staying right here. That's where I'm staying. If you put a little light on this and maybe a little light there, maybe just a sliver of light on this thing, you know, it's going to bring me back, you know, and maybe, you know, yeah, I think that would help the painting a lot. And maybe get it a little darker, you know, under here. Okay, nice job. All righty. Okay, so this is Shannon's. This is the picture, and here's the painting. Okay, so this whole painting is about obviously looking through the forest. This is a perfect example of a photograph being blown out. There's no way that this is that light. It's probably looks pretty much like this. So again, be careful when you're shooting your photographs to make sure that your photographs don't have a lot of blown out areas. You know, check them and double check them. You know, quadruple check them if you have to. You know, this is a nice painting. I get the sense of, I mean, I'm going to look at this half of the painting right over here. This half is blown out. But I do get the sense that I could walk back there. And that's what I want. You know, that's just like a foreground, a middle ground, you know, kind of a receding area back here. And then, you know, some more foliage back here. And, you know, I don't really have much to say about this because I mean, I like, if I just look at this side, I think it's well done. The only thing maybe, like, I love the way you have this like little lighter value right in here. If you could put it just a little bit back there, it would even like give more, you got a little bit of it, have even more depth where I'd even walk back further. But nice edge work on the grasses, the trees. I like this. This isn't really necessarily any type of specific tree, but I know it's a tree and I like it. I like the energy of it, you know, and then also the sky could possibly be, if you took this sky color, this is probably just not the color you wanted there. It's probably just something you didn't get to. But I would make this sky's kind of like a yellowish green. I would sort of come in with this kind of bluish color right there and maybe make that a little bit lighter and punch a couple of little sky holes in there too. I think that would help too. Okay, great job. Okay, Maureen. Okay.
Hi, Errol.
Hi, Maureen. How are you?
Fine.
This is just a beautiful little painting, and there's a lot to look at here. And you know, it's, you know, I looked at it and I said, oh my God, look at this duck like flying and flapping his wings, and the duck here is like peeking at, you know, keeping an eye for the other ducks, and this kid over here is looking at his sister, you know, and she's feeding the ducks, and you know, there's a little story going on here, which is really nice. You know, it tells a story, and so I think it's a successful painting. If I look at well, there isn't a photograph. You had a sketch here.
Right.
And it's a quick sketch. And in the sketch, I noticed that you had the reflections coming down into the water a little bit. I like that. But I noticed that in the painting, I think that maybe some reflections would have been nice, a few of them coming down. Like I didn't see the photographs, I can't see, you know, what it looked like. So that might be one thing to think about. And as far as it's a warm day, because I can see there's warmth on her skin, there's warmth on him. I would like to see more consistency with the warmth. Like this is the warm areas. This is kind of cool to me, all these blues. And I'd like to see, like, he did a really nice job. I feel the warmth up here. And I think he did it in the sketch. So maybe he didn't really get to it. See how this is kind of warmer? And so you saw it, and so, you know, you just didn't get around to it. So just something to think about. You know, try to keep things consistent. Try to think about your temperature, your temperature shifts. Other than that, I really love the way this could be a painting all by itself, you know, and this could be a painting all by itself, you know, if you wanted to, you know, and these ducks are just great. So good job, Maureen.
Well, thanks. You know, I did have a question, Errol.
Sure.
It is like where the boy is looking, you know, that big blue area in the middle of the pond. Anyways, that's really lighter, and I was thinking, does it really, I mean, it's going to be a lot of work to put in some light reflection from the sun in there, like in ripples, or should I just leave it?
Well, you know, I mean, I think it reads, you know, it's impressionistic, you know, and it kind of like, you know, if you change this around, you're going to have to change this around. It reads as water. I don't think you need to do anything really. You know, I think it reads as water. And is this moss over here or something, or?
Well, no, but it's water. But you know how it's just green, swampy water.
Oh, green swamp. Okay, then yeah. I'd have to see what what it looked like. But you know, be careful on these edges here that they don't get too hard where they meet the water, and there'd be some reflection going up from the water onto this, whatever it is there, you know? So
Yeah.
you keep that in mind. And this might be just a little bit kind of heavy, but overall, very nice. Is that a duck going underwater?
Yeah.
Okay.
All
Love
right.
it. Okay, very nice.
Okay.
Okay, moving on. This is Howard's. Okay, so this is the scene. He's above, looking down, and it's a sunny, warm day. And here he is painting. So a couple of things about this painting. Right away, there's a little bit of a drawing issue, and it's perspective. This all looks like it's going uphill. It's not an uncommon problem to have in a painting. It's basically straight across, right? This goes back because it comes up, comes up and goes around. This comes straight across. So pay attention to your angles. When you're out there doing perspective, this is a flat angle. This would be a 45-degree angle. This would be from here to here is like maybe like a 10-degree angle. So look at your angles. And like this angle looks right. That's about 10 degrees, might be a little bit much, but this comes back more straight, and that would flatten it down. The other thing about this painting is if you look at the photograph, again, this is great seeing the photograph. This is like if you squint down, this is pretty much a solid mass of dark, and then maybe a little variation there. So I would say simplification. I would say simplify this area here. And also, it looks like the tree's laying in the water. Don't have the tree going right into the water. Bring the tree, because if you look at it, it's not in the water. It's above the water. So there's light, shadow, dark, light, shadow. So that's what you want to have when you're doing this. You want to have, you got a little bit of it, but you have the shadow coming around. And the shadow looks like it's almost in a circle. It's almost like too perfect. So maybe the shadow should be flatter. Let me see. See, flatter. It's not so wide. Because it's wide, it looks like it's tipped up. See, it looks like it's tipped up. So this shadow is much narrower, like from here to here. And then you'll be able to have the shadow, then you'll be able to have the light, and then the dark. And then, make this darker. And other than that, good job. Very nice. Okay, Julie. Okay, so I looked at this photograph. She's painting this area right here of the photograph. There's her painting. This is a beautiful little painting. I mean, very sensitively done. It's really nice work in here, nice work in here, really nice in here, very delicate. Very, very, very nice job. I mean, darks in the trees, blue as they go back, good edge work up there. Sky could be a little lighter. You could pop the sky a little bit more. Remember, the sky is your lightest area. Can't see the sky, but trust me, it's lighter than what you have. In the sky holes, it'll be darker, but where you see straight through, it's going to be lighter. And your water, I think this is all good. The only thing that I think about this is these stems right here might be just a little bit strong. If you paint the flowers, if you paint the bushes without the stems, you don't really see the stems. You just see a few stems here and there, lost and found. Stem, no stem, little stem, no stem. These are strong shapes, and they kind of like block you from going back. So if you just paint some foliage, and they can be darker too. So if they're darker, I wanted to see the value difference, like this value right here. They're gonna pop, but then you can pop lighter against the dark. So you got that stem coming right up there. It kind of looks like a neon tube, sort of, So I think it could be more organic. Like this is done right down here. I'm mostly talking about that right up there. But other than that, very good. This is Deborah. So this is the painting. This is her reference. She was on a painting off of there's a a wall right here. So she was on the other side of the wall. And this is glowing right here. So I see what she was after. So, I mean, this is a beautiful little painting just as it is. Kind of reminds me of a Van Gogh in a way. I mean, with all that texture and those, those bright colors. I think this is a successful painting. The only thing, or a couple things that I think would help it is a temperature shift. We've got this glow going on here, which is fine. I think if we cool down the shadow side, cool them down, make them more bluish, more purpley, that would be good. And maybe make this a little bit darker too. And that would really pop this. And then, it's up to Deborah what you want to do. This is all very textural. And, if that's your intent, then fine. There's nothing, it's very beautiful impressionistic painting. But because it's all textural, sometimes it keeps my eye, it kind of flattens things out, and also the way to make something look even more texture is to put something non-texture, near it. So might want to try, you don't have to, you can leave it just the way it is, but in the future, you might want to play with the simplification of areas and the texture, the simplification of the shadows against the texture of the light, but most importantly, think about your temperature. I think this would be, because you've got great warm temperature there, and I think the windows, I'd like to see the windows a little bit straighter. Watch your verticals. Other than that, nice job. All right, I love this photograph. Just great, country road, going back into the woods, fields, golden fields, beautiful green. So I think that the drawing is really good on this painting, really super good. You got the perspective. I won't go back to but you basically got it spot on. I think you missed an opportunity here though, in that it's all kind of like one value, not one value, but one temperature. It's all very cool. And it's all kind of like, I don't want to use the word muddy, but kind of like muted. So before I go into color, this area, as things go back, this is all very nice here, but these are way in the background. These edges, at first I thought they were mountains. So I think we need to pay closer attention and soften these edges. And as they go back, they should also, even if you might not see them that way, they get bluer and they get a little lighter. And maybe vary the edges, put some sky holes in there, and maybe vary the color where it gets on. Because these are not solid up and down. They have form. This is the top, this is the side. Okay, and it's just like kind of like flat there with a hard edge. So work on getting those edges more organic. And then what I really think would really make this painting is to work on these colors. This is one area where I think color would really help. Try to get that nice hot green, those hot fields, and the heat on the road. I think it would be, amazing, in the blue of the sky. If you want to do another one, you could do that. Or this looks like oil. You could even use this as a base. It looks like it started that way. It looks like a little more intensity in the colors, but then it kind of like, it got a little bit muddy. Rich's, here's his drawing. There's his scene. Love this, the old buildings. Looks like an old Poplar Grove feed company. Going back, looks like there's a house back there or something. Did a little sketch, little thumbnail, and there's his painting, watercolor. Nice job. Great job on the buildings. The thing about this painting, I love all this. I think this is great. I think the car is great. I'm going back there and I'm kind of like, I want to stay here, sort of. It's taking me back there and I'm not sure what's back there. So I would, from a compositional standpoint, I would almost tone this down. So I mean, still make it a road, but get it toned down. And then maybe put a little building back there or something. Because right now, just by looking at it without looking at the photograph, I'm not sure, you know, it takes me back into that space. And I'm really not totally sure it's a road or not. So I think it would be better if there was a little bit more of a delineation of the road there. One thing I noticed about this, you see how this value here and this value here, and the sky value? I think if you made this value just a little bit darker there, I think that might help a little bit. And I'm not sure if you need these things. I know they're there, but I'm not sure if you need them. I mean, I'm being really picky. I mean, but just it might help. I mean, other than that, this is really a nice painting. I mean, I love this area right here. This truck is perfectly done. This is perfectly done. You know, I kind of want to stay in this area. And I mean, I might, if I was painting this, I might make this road. I mean, you would see there's a road there, but I'd really fuzz this out. But I wouldn't have this so light up here. I'd keep the road, I'd keep all the light down there and keep this all dark from here up. And that might help it. But I'm being really picky. Other than that, it's really a great painting. Thanks. Lori. Okay, this is the scene. It's another scene where we're looking through a shadow area into a lighted area. I mean, I love these kind of compositions. They can be very dramatic, very exciting, and very powerful. They're fun to paint. One of my favorite things to paint. So with this, I think you did a really good job in this, Lori. I love the way you kept this really simple. You just silhouetted it. You didn't overwork it. I can tell it's a fence. I liked a little bit of light you put on the steps. You know, this.
I got my little, whatever those collars are on those columns,
Yeah.
one is off, they're not going down. So I realized that after I submitted it.
Yeah, well, it's no. I mean, I can tell. I mean, obviously I can tell they're columns, but they're kind of like they're kind of like square. You know, they're shaved. You know what I mean? It's like a light value, a little darker. I mean, a little the darkest value, a little lighter, a little lighter, a little lighter, a little lighter, a little lighter. You know, and I think that if you could capture that, you know, on those columns, I think that would be a good thing to do on this painting. Let me see. Whereas, because the painting is about the columns, you know, and right now this just looks like a flat column to me. I see it's kind of like, can't tell what's going down there. So maybe just a little bit more attention to the different planes in these columns. You know, if there's one thing you want, you know, sometimes you got to take an area of the painting and you have to really work on that little area and really kind of like really bring it into focus. And right now, this is like basically sort of out of focus. It's almost like the same edge that's in here a little bit. So I'm okay with this edge being, I mean, there's a couple ways of looking at this. You could have made this edge harder, which means this is closer to me, and make this softer, right? Or you could have made this kind of like you know, in photography, make this a softer focus, what you did, but then make this harder, you know? And I think maybe I would have made this harder because this is where you want the eye to go. And by making the eye is always gonna go to a harder edge. And then also pop the color, you know, pop that, make that a hotter orange, yellow, red, you know, whatever, you know, just make it warmer and hotter, you know. And then one other thing about this painting, I kind of like the way this comes like light and then it's dark. See that little light there? I think that's important. I think these little lights here are important. And then there's a shadow cast on this wall, just on this wall right here, and a little bit on this wall, Well, actually, there's a little bit on, it's on all the walls actually. Yeah, but and let me just see something in that bench and that planter. Let me see if you have that. See, I would have put the bench and the planter back there too. I think that would have made. I think it would really add a little bit of something to this side. This is probably blown out, right, Lori?
Pardon me?
This is blown out. You didn't vignette it, right?
Oh, it might be. Yeah, I think so. Because it's hard to. Yeah.
So this is again. I'm emphasizing this, guys, for even when other people start critiquing your paintings, try to get your photographs accurate as you can. And play around with them. Spend some time, even an hour, to get it right. It's going to make a big difference. But
I say that, but it may not have been that blown out. It might have just been I didn't get enough. I was fuzzing it out too much, maybe.
Maybe. Well, I think you need some harder edges in here, and I think maybe this bench would be a good idea. Just a little bit with this planter. It kind of mirrors this. You know what I mean? And
I'm sorry.
I would put that in there anyways. Because right now this is kind of empty over here.
So I shouldn't harden the one on the left. Leave that alone.
Yeah, I leave that alone, and I just put a little bench there, part of a bench. Even if you have to make it up where the planter is. Even just a bench without the planter. Is that another planter right there?
Yeah, planters all over the place. Yeah.
Okay, so I'd make this planter a little darker like that one. Because I couldn't tell what it was. I thought it was the shadow back there in the trees. So make that like it actually, you're walking up the steps and there's a planter on each side. Maybe put some light around it so you bring it forward. Okay?
Okay, thank you, Errol.
Okay, great job. I like where you're going with your art. Okay, this is a fun little painting. Andrea, trying to figure out if this is, are you there, Andrea?
Yes, I am, Errol. And this is one of those kind of signs, almost carnival-like with bright neon.
Yeah.
And the inside is backlit. So it was real test of where to stop with color and not get too descriptive.
Is this a nocturne?
Yes. I was on the street corner, kitty corner from there.
Yeah. So fun painting, and did a really good job. And I thought it was a nocturne. It's the perspective is good. This is 2-point perspective, boom, and going this way. I think you got the perspective pretty good. Well, this is going down. This is going a little straight, you see?
Okay.
So bring this little perspective line, because your eye level's right probably about here. You're standing across the street. So everything above your eye level is going to come down to a vanishing point here. Everything below your eye level is going to come up to a vanishing point. So this is straight. This would help this painting if it came up a little bit, right? And this came down a little bit. This might be a little bit too sharp. And then this here, just be careful. I'd like to see this a little bit. That's a corner of the building, right?
No, it was all lit up in neon, and that was why I submitted it.
Okay.
What type of color palette to use to get that like brightest neon look?
Well, we have to work within the range of our paints, right?
Right. Especially on location.
We can't paint. None of our paint is as bright as the sun, and so we have to work with. So it's really observation. So without seeing the photograph, it'd be hard to say. But observe what was there, and there's probably a lot of yellows, pinks, and blues in it in neon. So I'd have to. I can't really tell you without seeing it. I mean, I don't think there's a formula. It's more of an observation. You got to use your observational skills. But other than that, nice job. Just a little bit under perspective.
Okay, thanks a lot, Errol.
Okay, great. Well, this is a scene that I know well. Okay, so it's the Michigan Avenue Bridge and the boats and the Wrigley Building. Painted this a ton of times. Okay, Susan, you did a good job on this. Nice job. What I'd like to see on this painting is I'd like to see a little bit Well, the focal point is the bridge tower. I'm sure you're painting the bridge tower. So we can send this back, we can send this building back, simplify the windows, simplify the structure. And with the sky, if you look at the photograph, your sky hole here is kind of like over here, it's further over, you kind of squeezed it in, which is fine. But this building is much lighter than that building. So what you got to do is you have to darken that up a little bit. And also the kind of day it is, well, I can't tell if it's an overcast, looks like an overcast day. But value-wise, this should be a little darker, this should be a little lighter. And then if you're going to make this sky, then you really have to make it look like sky, you know, and get it lighter. I think that the building, I'd like to see more of the tower and the building, a little bit more attention paid to the drawing of the building. I mean, I think this is really good right in here, but you're kind of covering it up here. I'm not sure if you need that tree right there. I mean, this is one point where I might have taken that. I can see you have it under there, and then you covered it over, I think. And so I think maybe I'll work on the, it's so small, but I mean, you see how dark that is down there? It gets really dark, and there's some sharp edges on there too, you know? So I mean, you really have to kind of, when you're drawing this, I've drawn this so many times, get that shape really right, you know, and paint it as one shape. Don't put any windows in, don't put any lines in, just paint it as one shape, and then start breaking it up. Okay. Also be careful on the bolt. The bolt's fine, but you've got a little bit too much white going on. I would maybe not cover so much of the tower with this tree. You know, I would have this edge exposed and maybe most of that edge exposed, and see more of the tower, because the tower is your hero here, and you're covering it up. You're covering up the.
It looks like there's 3 players, so.
You're covering up the hero. So so bring this forward, darken up this building a little bit. Okay. You also use your T-square, keep your lines straight. This is kind of going, I know this goes like this, kind of like up on an angle, but keep this line. See this building's falling over that way. Keep these lines straight, and then, you know, make a separation. This is a building behind here, and this is a wall here, but it looks like it's all one piece. So you want to have some harder edges there. So you need some edge work here. Don't be afraid. It's good to have soft edges, but you know, on non-organic structures, man-made structures, there's a lot of hard edges. So we're going to use more hard edges, you know, not outline, but maybe more contrast, maybe, you know, strengthen up the edges to make that building pop. Because right now it's getting all kind of mushed together, you know what I mean? But I really love what you did here. I love that window right there, you know. Just don't cover up the building. actually, it had it. It actually had it. Now,
I did. And then I covered it up with a tree underneath.
Yeah, and make a decision. Maybe
should the boat be such hard edges? Should the boat have rendered softly?
Well, I think the boat. Well, you know, the boat is
calling attention to itself a lot.
Yeah, the boat is my eye is, if I cover this painting and covered a boat, I think it's a much stronger painting. Right. I'd question whether you really need the boat.
I think I need to get rid of it.
Yeah, I mean, think about it next time you paint it, if you want to put it in or not.
Eliminate the boat.
Yeah.
It's too much.
Maybe so.
Right.
And maybe the water also could be a little bit one flat value, you know, and maybe a little bit more. It's hard to tell off the photograph, but you know, overall, good job.
Thanks, Errol.
Okay, you're welcome. Okay, this is really an interesting painting. You know, it's just the way we all look at, you know, different scenes. And Elizabeth focused on this, looks like copper leaves, looks like part of a fountain or something, with the bench in back. I mean, I think Elizabeth, you did an excellent job on these leaves, and it looks to me like copper. It looks like metal. I think it's just great, you know. And that's your hero. That's your focal point. That being said, that's your focal point. I think we have to quiet down some things to make this stuff pop. Not everything, nothing else can be as interesting as that, as these. So I would, you know, try not to texturize the tree. Try not to create leaves. Paint these more in broad masses, and so simplify this tree. I'd simplify this background, you know, instead of having these variegated lines and these variegated lines and these leaves, it'd be much stronger. Look at how strong that looks next to that, how simple it is, how this just pops that, you know, that's the best example in here, or like this against that. So, you know, simplify, you know, I know you're trying to show grasses back here, but kind of simplify this whole area. And I'd even simplify the bench a little bit. You know, maybe like soften some edges, destroy some edges, not, you know, not some, you know, hard edges. I mean, this is all very hard. Well, some of the hardest, your hardest edges are, you know, well, these are your hardest edges because of your contrast, but you could, you know, soften this up quite a bit. But other than that, nice job. Very nice.
Thank you. It was not easy to get all those curves sort of aligned.
You did a fabulous job. Fabulous.
Thanks.
And I think it's in oil, right?
Yes, it is. Yes.
Yeah, it's in oil. So I mean, you could eat. It's up to you if you wanted to paint it again, or if you just wanted to go in and simplify it. Now, this is my own personal thing. All right, it might not bother anybody else, but I like verticals to be verticals. You know, so this bench is like kind of like leaning. It looks kind of wonky. It looks like it's falling over this way a little bit to me. Just something to keep in mind, you know, next time you paint it, you know, maybe variegate, you know, maybe do a little bit of variation on some of these slats right here. But yeah, but great job. Okay.
Thank you.
See how straight this is? These are straight, 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 and it kind of goes. Okay. Okay, Deborah. All right, so this is the scene, and really nice. Looks like a, you know, nice yard with a picket fence and bushes and a couple structures. Beautiful job back here on these trees. Really nice job in this building. A little bit of a perspective problem right here on this building. This roof is way up here where it should be coming down like this. So there's some drawing problems with this, and this is watercolor. It's going to be hard to fix, I think, but just keep in mind next time you do a structure that, see, this is above this. I hope you guys can all see what I'm doing. Coming straight down in there at an angle, like about, you know, 20 degrees. And here it goes up. So really, if you're going to stay with this roof line like this peak of this roof would have to be over here someplace. This wall would almost have to be this high and then come up and then come down. So I don't know, maybe you can fix it, because if you can go darker, I'm not sure. So there's that little issue, but this is done well here. The fence, yeah, I mean, that's really my only issue with this painting. Other than that, I think he did a nice job. Okay, Anne's not here, but I'll talk about it. Okay, this is the scene. And okay. So I think that the hero of this, I think she wants us to look at the gazebo. And I do look at the gazebo, but I'm also tempted to look over here at these trees. So I think she needs to simplify the trees just slightly. And then also, this painting has a very, if you squint down, this is like a darker value than the painting, and it's all warmer and kind of more reddish orangey color. In her painting, she has it more like blue, and she has her brightest color back there. So my eye is like going, You know, it's kind of like, if anything, the bright colors should be more around the gazebo. So she needs to, you know, without looking at the reference, I'm glad these references are here. You wouldn't know it, but you see how this is like, this is, if you squint and look at the reference, this is all much darker than the sky, much orangier, redder. And in here, she's much bluer and cooler. Also, there's these good reflections right here. So that's my main issue with this one. And there's this building, there's some perspective where it's a hard thing to draw, but it's kind of like tipped. And this branch is coming right in the center of it. I might bring that branch up above it and not cut the roof in half. So this is my painting. I thought I'd show one painting. I had this up on Facebook. Some of you guys might have seen this. This is over in Humboldt Park, and it's a great area to paint. If you haven't been there, I highly recommend going there. They have so many different areas to paint in Humboldt Park. And this is lily pads looking back, and this is my painting. My whole idea with this painting was to create I was mostly interested in the lily pads and the darkness right in here, you know, and the blue sky reflecting in the water. I mean, that's what I really cared about. I didn't really care about too much else. You know, I destroyed a lot of edges. I did a lot of scraping, a lot of layering down. Most of that real heavy paint is right in the front. If you notice in the reflections, you know, they're coming straight down, and the edges are pretty broken. You know, matter of fact, almost everything is broken edge. This is all organic. It's all natural. You know, to critique my own painting, if I was to go back into this, which it's already varnished, so I'm not going to. I probably would have went a little bit lighter back here. I probably didn't quite cool it off enough going back into the background. I might have been, you know, I'm happy with the way this looks back here. I think this might be a little bit too round. I can break this up a little bit. I can also bring the blue sky and bring it a little lighter. You know, we all need to learn how to critique our own paintings. And I remember when I started painting, when and even after I had been painting for a long time, it took me a long time to be able to critique my own paintings. How do we critique our own paintings? Well, we take a lot of classes. We listen to other people's who we trust, you know, have knowledge and experience and will give us good, honest opinions. I mean, we want good, honest opinions when we hear critiques, you know, constructive criticism. And and by you know, and then also, of course, watching videos and reading books. But one of the most important things to learn about critiquing paintings is to attend critiques. I can't say that enough. I took a photography class that I had to stop because of COVID. I took 3 semesters of it, and it was great. And in the photography class, the teacher said that unequivocally that the students said they had critiques every class. We take photographs, bring them in, they critique them. It was the critiques where you really learn, you know, because you know that's where you learn to see, and not just your own paintings, but other people's paintings too. So just by me telling you on this painting, I'd like to see this go back just a little bit lighter back there, you know, and maybe I like the way this looks here. Maybe I could have made a little bit there. But don't forget, this is a plein air painting. I didn't do anything on this painting. I painted this, you know, this was like a 2-hour painting or something like that. So I didn't take this back to the studio and work it out and tighten it up. I mean, I could have tightened up these, made these darker and rendered them out a little bit. You know, now I have to make a decision. Is this what I want as an artist? Is this what I'm trying to achieve? To me, I am. For me, this is good. You know, I'm happy with it. Someone else might not like it. Someone might want to see more like, you know, real, real bushes, you know, I mean, the actual form of the bush, you know. But I kind of like, you know, for me, I like kind of like painting things, suggesting things, leaving a lot to the imagination. So it's more like poetry in a way, and not that I don't appreciate people that can render it out perfectly, like the Hudson River School artists, and or modern artists like Jacob Collins can do a landscape like that. And you'll see every leaf on the tree. They're beautiful. But you look at it, a guy like Todd Bernaghi or Jeremy Mann, modern painters, or Michael Workman, or some of these guys. So I'm kind of getting off course here, but it's good to know at some point where you want to go with your art, as an artist, and where, not that we want to try to be like, I don't want to try to be like, a particular artist exactly, but we're all influenced by artists, and it's good to have an idea of what you want to do and to try to work towards that. But that being said, that all comes in stages too, depending upon where you are in your artistic path, everything, I've been painting 40 years, and some other people in this critique, have been painting even, as long as that or close to it. And so it takes time, and it's good to try different things. So that's about all I got to say. I don't know. Mary, anything else? Hello? Anybody up? Anybody there?
Yeah, we're here.
You all fall asleep on me?
Everybody's here. They're just all muted. And let's see, Mary, where are you?
Thanks, Errol. That was so great.
Oh man, it's so much fun. I got to tell something else. You guys, along when you're on your artistic path and when you feel comfortable, and you feel, wherever you're at, some of you are already there, far past there. Some of you are working towards it. Doing critiques is a valuable thing for yourself as an artist, because you have to analyze all these different paintings, and it helps your own art, is what I'm trying to say. So I appreciate it. You guys help me too.
You always do such great critiques, Errol. They're always so spot on and just really good.
Well, I try to do the best I can,
Thanks so much, Errol.
By the way, you guys are all doing great. I mean, this group is just like, there's some great art coming out of this group, and I've been around long enough, since 2005. I've been a member of the group, so 15 years. And I think Mary Long, you deserve a ton of credit for bringing these critiques to everybody, and all Clayton and Steve and all the other critiquers are just passing the torch. Okay.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Hey, everybody. Great.
Thank you, Errol.
Everybody stay
Thank
safe.
you.
Thank you.
Hey, see ya.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mary. Thanks so much.
Yep, thank you.
Thanks, Errol.
All right.
You're welcome, guys.